说我们去研究破中呢，破中呢，就是从几根就我日容sem，去我是蹲着不，咋不拉么下不了，古上走，到送着不了呢，去了一儿，是从东啊进的切进前。你要说没碰，是吧？就来说，先前对的你的当去呢，当班他们今天正在的说 ，Good morning. According to your compassion, according to your kindness, according to your wisdoms. Now we are we are investigating about the situation of samsaric transmigration or samsaric sentient beings or samsaric creatures. And whatever you call it doesn't matter. And whoever have had or to have consciousness, and also you can call different name. Maybe someone you call the mind, someone you call the brain, someone you call the soul, sometimes you call the consciousness, and sometimes you call the middle way, Mahamudra, Ariba awareness. There's many different terms or the names labeled, but it doesn't matter. When we are talking about mind, and then we turn inward ourselves, then we need to analyze which kind of am I, sentient beings or creatures. But this time is we already explored different states like hell, hungry ghosts, animals, human, and we are, I think it's still analysis or checking how it is the human beings. And now it's like really we seriously ourselves to check during the meditation or during any times when you sit under your comfortable cushion and mind to settle itself, and then don't think about past, futures, presently. Maybe we can analyze our mind and where is in our body, and body it is mind. What is the difference? Can we distinguish between body and mind? And between theirs we have verb or the voice, and the movement or contraction, I don't know, but body and mind is corresponding and something, and then it's a voice automatically occurring. The structure of the body, there's kind of the lung, thyroid, and tongue, teeth, all this kind of the meshings. And there is, according that mind is push. And then we can to say something. I can to say, hi, how are you? You can to say me, good. And you can to give the like we can to communicate, but we deeply go to in the mind, or sometimes who is pushing, how it is the wave of the thoughts occurring. And of course there is many different researches, but in the resumingly, in the shortly, when we are like kind of check the receiver of like pain and sorrow, or this judge of the what you want to talk, what you want to say, and in this body there is, and you received some and coffee or tea, you can say it delicious, you can't say it not delicious. There is something is completely different than the materials. Like for example, I want to say make nice coffee. I say, hey, my computer, I offer you the coffee. You have electricity, you recognize, you have memory, and would you like to drink coffee? Computer, don't give me answer. And I need to myself to some connect to the application, and but computer is, even I'm angry, you don't talk to me, I push, like pull or throw out my hot coffee into the monitor or the screen, the coffee, and computer not cry. Computer says not ouch. And very funny, then is mind is not material. The mind is very inconceivable. We really do more research. It is a very sensitivity, and it can to think past, future, carrying a lot of memory. It is like there is something, of course, in the Buddha's teaching, the explanation of the mind, it is really incredible. But it's like for ourselves, maybe to be seriously, to honestly, to check that is the main our point. How we can make comfortable the mind, peace mind, and not pain mind, sorrow mind, uncomfortable mind. Then this mind is, it doesn't matter it was in the past or in the present, in the future. Wherever mind being, the mind has this feeling, sorrow, happy. And the presently, alternately, and there is. One moment is happy, one moment is sorrow, one moment is change. There's changeable is coming. Surely in the future, wherever mind will be, this. But really mind is all the time is looking some comfortable. According the mind itself kind of, some we say is like kind of coordinated, or like very much harmony of the mind itself. Means it's like mind should to accept something. And then its mind is very happy. We would to say it's like mind is like something, some person or some beings. Then in order to help this being, we need to ask, what would you like? It's same like this our mind is. Mind need to ask to mind, what would you like? Surely mind reply to us to say, I need comfortable, happy, pleasure, something. And then say, yes, okay, mind, you need like this, surely. You don't want sorrow, uncomfortable, agony, or anxiety. And mind say, replied, no. It's obvious. And this is, did you analyze your mind? I often analyze. My mind is difficult. Even myself is difficult to believe because I can't see, I cannot touch. But why I'm says I can't see, I can't touch. But the sayer itself is the mind. Sometimes mind talking mind. In the Russian you call the samtakoi. It's true. And then since we got this mind, and we call the sentient beings or transmigrations, moving, searching, working, talking, and like a kind of the very funny, some is the materials or kind of the pile of the atoms, particles coming together and moving, talking. It's become the very, very strange. But any kind of the things are not moving. I can see now table, mandala, computer, they are not moving. They are not to say it's like I need tea, I don't get tea. But maybe if there is some consciousness, the mind, what we have, maybe also as well they are moving, they are shouting, they cry. And when we look at our sentient beings in the society, like kind of the globally, all the different bodies are very funny. Like a kind of someone looks like table, someone looks like pillow, someone looks like computer, someone looks like camera, someone looks like someone has 2 legs, someone's 1 leg, someone's 100 leg, 1,000 leg. And also there is possible 2 head, many arms. And also it's like someone's going to like, how do you say it, side, upside down, many different type of. They are like kind of the materials. The body is really, there is cannot to say is definitively sentient beings, bodies like this. Same as our like normal things. But mind is entering into these things, then it's very funny. Therefore, what am I saying this one? Since you got mind, you, me, everybody's need to take care our own mind. That whatever mind need the cause of happiness, we should to collect. And also whatever mind make uncomfortable and like kind of the not very good things, we need to avoid. You need to give me permission to wearing these glasses, sorry. And like this, my eyes is a little bit kind of light. This wearing these glasses, then it's very much become comfortable. And sorry. And like this, and since we got the mind, I think it's you should to be yourself loyalty, you should be yourself honest, and you should be. It's like it's like I don't want to say the you. So we should to be honest. We should to be take care. And otherwise, it's like I don't know. Mind just need help. Mind need happiness. Mind don't want sorrow. But who can to help? Who can to give to us such happiness and to take care of the sorrow? And maybe mind need education. Mind needs more knowledge. And mind is like more sharp. And then mind can manage. Mind can more, it's like can control and whatever occur in the mind. And therefore we are searching. If you want to carry your mind, of course someone says, I haven't got mind. My mind is like same as the materials, electricity. I don't care. Then, okay, then that is also it's like some theory, some culture, some like philosophy, but you can't follow it. But the result, the consequence, I'm not sure. But honestly, if we analyze some follower of the Buddha's path, there are some achievement, there are some such happy being we can to see. And even that really is some serious practitioners like Dharma, studying some Dharma, they very much like, how do we say, magnificent to changing process. Like kind of the magnificent way they're changing. They're like kind of unbelievable. Like before you are not like this. Maybe sensitivity and very much aggressive, very much all the time complaining and greeding, desire, jealousy, so on. And some certain you study Dharma, completely changed. You change to become more calm, peace, and kindness. You all change the atmosphere. Your family, whoever nearby you. And that is the wonderful sign. And also this, someone's to study really the Dharma, is like more polite, more respect, more caring to the others, and more understand other situations. And also they kind of the reducing the ego-oriented or selfishness, selfish, foolish. And then this person is really wonderful, this changing process. And then it's like we can to say is whoever nearby, we appreciate, wow, thanks. And it's like kind of the past memory, kind of tendencies, and it's slowly forget it. And more kind of, we have influence of the kindness, good-hearted, and more is like environmental is changing. That is good sign, wonderful. That is we want it. And any kind of, when we follow the spiritualities, maybe it's good, but for the Buddhist perspective, for the Buddha's point of view, if you make happy everybody, and you can to say it's like you respect to all sentient beings. If you partial way or partiality way, and you make this side make happy, but this side is you disturbed. You say this side is my side, that side is your side. Your side happy or not happy, I don't care. My side all the time I'm concerned. That is not really Buddha's path. If you learn the Buddha Dharma, really you concern in the entirely sentient beings. It doesn't matter you are human or sentient beings. It doesn't matter you're rich or poor. It doesn't matter you're black or white or brown. It doesn't matter. You entirely to taking care to others. That is very much nice. In this sort of someone has a mind, it's really we call the noble holiness, superiority. They're like this. Now we are like more caring mind. And therefore, now it's like a human Zalamus. And yesterday I stopped one day in the middle of the paragraphs. I want going to read these paragraphs. He said, moreover, this continent of the Jampa Vipa confers a particularly power on the effects of action which makes everything good and bad, pleasant and unpleasant, higher and low, dharma or not, highly unpredictable. And it's like a dharma or not dharma, say, chudu chuman. And this sort of, are you monkey group is okay, touching all the time computer, talking, and I don't know, maybe can you live like this? They certainly ain't showing like this. I don't know. They all the time touching, talking in the front of the computer. Like this, and this all kind of different aspect, different situation. It is the effect of the actions in the past action, and what we done past our preparation, and according that, and then make everything in the present good or bad, pleasant or not pleasant, and dharma or not dharma. And this is highly unpredictable. And we is like in the present moment, it is like kind of the comfortable, nice, but maybe that is the result on the past action. But what is going on? How long is to maintain? This everything is unpredictable, unclearly, uncertainty. And that is absolutely truth. This is reality. I don't know who can to tell to us like a kind of the cast, or like kind of the future, we will be like this and that. Very much unpredictable. And futures is like kind of the forecast. It's like a kind of coding in the present action. Then we can to say, I think according your actions, maybe you will become like this. Maybe someone too can say. And like this, for example, some doctors, when they check their own patients, and according to your sickness, according to your treatment, according to your kind of the arrangement, maybe you will become like a cure or sick, die, or kind of doctors kind of roughly to tell you, don't touch this computer. It's awful, really. I'm serious. Not funny. It's all the time touch. Then certainly it's the block. And maybe you are great master of the computer, but touch then is. And like this everything is maybe it's like the depends is our action. And particularly in the Jamba Vipa, we say it's like confirm. This is like we call the in our continent is the really is like the affection of causalities in the continent, and this we came to create positive action, negative action. The consequence also is like easily to ripen. Sometimes immediately in this moment, you just 1 second you're done. After second, it can result. This can happen. And of course, most is like causalities, like kind of the same as our seed, like a vegetation plant. When we put a seed into the ground, earth, maybe it's the grow up quickly or not. Maybe someone is very fast. Some you put some fertilizer. But these affections, how does it affect the result, consequence? It's take a little time. Maybe some, according to some scientific analysis, or some techniques I heard, like you have a vegetation, some machines, and there is like one hot light, like luminous light, to send in very hot, strong light, close, sand, close, sand, close. And this is like kind of counting the day and night. And you do the 100, maybe it's like per day, some vegetables to grow up. Morning you soil, in the evening you can pick up, eat. And this kind of like now someone science doing. And also I heard some also chickens, some other animals. It's a very funny. They put like this, then it's grow up very fast, day night like this. This is like inconceivable things. And this is also is a weekend. What am I saying? Is like there is causalities. There is a seed, cause, conditions. Then there is consequence, result. Therefore, it's like any kind of things are everything is that comes from the cause, and everything is whatever we result. It's a good or bad. Totally depends on our cause. That we need to really to know this kind of notion, this kind of sense. We need into our mind. Then our own responsibilities. You want to follow to this kind of natural rule or not? Absolutely, we are freedom. You follow, and it doesn't matter for the teachers, Buddha, Bodhisattvas. If you follow, your benefit. If you don't follow, it's your problems. And of course, that is like now we are learning ourselves and how it is the reality of the things. It thinks like this in our continent, in the Jambudvipa. And Jambudvipa is in the Buddha's teachings, in the Abhidharma Suttas, is called our continent. Is more in the south directions, and it's called the Jambudvipa. This is like really it's a wonderful continent, and others like a kind of continent, according to Buddha's teachings, is just a result. You can't do much, something like a more, how do you say, positive action or negative action, and only is like kind of the result. When they are exhausted their own previous course, and then it's like reborn different way. But in this Jambudvipa, the center or continent, we can to create positive and negative whatever we want. And some other is like living beings, different continents. They are like kind of very much jealousy. They have a great kind of wish. Maybe may we reborn in the Jambudvipa because we can to do something. Some in the continent, a result is the fully kind of the positive actions. There's everything is until they die, perfect. No the object of the poor, sick. There's no to help some beings. Everybody is fantastic. Everybody is their own individual, and you need to positive, not positive, to do something benefit to others or not. You haven't got any notion, and maybe it's also difficult to like compassion or talking about. Maybe it's like there's something, but it's very funny way. And like this is therefore he said is in our Jambudvipa, everything is good, bad. It's entirely depends the effect of in the past action. And you should really see yourself how things are. That is the most important. We do not need to chasing after someone saying, "Oh, they say so. We should to follow." It is not like this. This is you really to follow up the Buddha's path. Whatever someone to say, you should to analyze. Even we say it's like the Buddha says something, we are analyze. That is given the permission by the Buddha himself. He said is whatever you learn from something, and you are like kind of the, if you accept my some suggestion, advice, or the teaching of Dharma, through your analysis, you say it's like, oh, Buddha said, it should be like this. You like out of the faith, out of the devotion, you swallow up what I say is things. That is that you are not really good followers. If you really to follow to my step or the like of path, whatever I said, this everything's to analyze. It is true or not. If you think it's truth, you can to follow. And I'm telling to you is whatever I have had experience, how I become peace mind, how I got that kind of the incredible something in my heart, how I got, that I'm telling to you. And this is relevant for you. This is really works you. If it works, maybe you can to apply this tool. Maybe you become same as me, and you can also become the Buddha. You can become the enlightened. And enlightened in the Buddha means is like kind of the general name of the like some high kind of the happiness, like kind of the inexhaustible happiness, forever happiness, and also very much become the like a benefit, like kind of the beneficial body, verb, mind. And like this kind of, if you want, and then you can follow. That is. Therefore, we say it's really you yourself how things are, and be clearly in your mind about what has to be done and what should be avoided. That is in the relatively. It is also very, very important, and this is really is realities. And maybe it's like what to be done and what should be avoided, this kind of maybe religious kind of discipline. Why you say like this? But this is not religious. This is everybody. Even if you make the coffee, tea, even your meal, there are something you need to done properly. Even you make the meal, you need to wash your vegetables, and you need to wash your like pans, and to clean how you can to put your spice, oils, everything you need to done properly. And there are something is you should to avoid, unclean, and it's like kind of some dirty things fell into. And also during the like there is something you need to avoid during you make meal or tea, coffee. This is not kind of religious word. This is not kind of someone's making the rule things. In the relative realities, there's something we should to done to be correctly, and also very important to done or to do. And something is like we need very much avoid. For example, make the joke. This morning we went around Dharma City, Kora, and also it's like there are some grass we should to avoid. Maybe why we need to avoid this grass, and this grass is making problems. It's like kind of dirty. No choice. Maybe this grass also sometimes nice flower looks like. But it's a reality we need to avoid to. And someone is like running, looks like secretary of birds, and the killing. And also I did, and of course in the Sagadava, and I don't want to like cutting something. But when we see this plant, it's not very good. We need to take out. And then this kind of, there is some necessary is like a kind of in our life. It is to have like this, something to be done properly, something should be avoided correctly, like this kind of very important. And this is like a need to see yourself, how things are, how things is like there's this kind of sort of something we cannot to accept, some things we need to accept. This sort of like in the relative perspective, there is something. And as I put into practice the omniscient Longchen Pa's advice. Longchen Pa's advice. This is very wonderful. And also maybe it's a wonderful translations, the Bhimakaras. But I have a little bit kind of, I don't know. For me it's very difficult to say. It's like we can to follow. And sometimes to look at what you perceive to be favorable. If you know it is just perception, all your experience will turn out to be helpful. Yeah, that one is maybe you understand, but when I'm reading in Tibet, sometimes you look according your appearances of condition and friend. Here is like according means favorable, and that means it's like what you perceived and the self appearances, and this is like maybe it's like you acceptable. For example, if you see the rainbow, that is your favorable, your self appearances. If you see the beautiful form and pleasant sound and tasty kind of the meal and nice smell, this kind of is like a kind of condition, or it's a friend of the according your faculties. It is your favorable. If you know it is just perceptions, just a perception, I would say if you know that it's just your own pure just your own self-perception. Like a perception, it is, I want to say, more in your mind. And also it's like more appearances is the more externally. Like we can take example the projector. And the projector inside all the pictures are the perception of the inner projector's picture. And the projector through the zoom or through the zooms is something is like electric projecting on the wall. In the wall you can to see these pictures. That is the appearances. Maybe I am wrong. Therefore, perception is more connected to inner. Appearances is more connected externally. For example, now when we see the mountain, sky, earth, city, something, that is the externally. We would to say this is like my appearances. I wouldn't to say that my perception. Of course, you can't say it, but it's a little. And one way I see in these appearances or are occurring, then we can to say, what do you have perceptions? And also it's like, here's one point, it's the self-appearances. And that comes from the self-perception. And when you see the mountains, some in the Dharma Pita instruction says, everything, whatever you appearances, is you say self-appearances. Okay, even these self-appearances, when I see the mountains, this mountain is my mind, it's my like kind of the own perception, and my like kind of you call the self-appearances. And that point view you should need to know about. When you see something and you say the mountain, this is not really mountain. It is just kind of the picture. But real means the mountain is inside. Something you have inside, vivid perception. You're thinking, yeah, that is the mountains. This is real mountain. That is your own in the mind. Nothing in the externally. In the projectors projecting, you see in the world one mountain. And then you say, real mountain is this on the wall, this picture, or in the project, in the picture, this one. Now, of course, everybody says this is the kind of the reflection. The real is the source in that is projectors. Like this is just the self-appearances. And all this experience you turn into, if you recognize, you know, if you recognize, it's your own like self-appearances, then what is the kind of the benefit? Benefit then is like you can to experience. And the all is like externally perception is you recognize your self-appearances. And then self-appearances, maybe almost you don't need to abandon, you don't need to adopt. And maybe it's whatever occur externally appearances is good or bad, positive or negative. They are just a kind of the hallucination. They are like kind of the projected. And then it's like you turn in inner experience. It sometimes it's become very much helpful. There is such a kind of good recognition, like this. And then it's like sometimes look at what you perceive to be adverse and harmful. There is like kind of the appearances, like favorite, adverse, harmful. And of course, when we look at our self-appearances, of course, there is the two kind of the deviations, say the pleasant, unpleasant. Even the form has good, bad. And sound, good, bad. Smell, good, bad. Taste, also good, bad. That is, there is. And when we do not recognize that self-appearances as the self-appearances, and we are kind of follow up to running after these appearances, I say, good, bad. For example, we would say it's donkeys, okay? He look at the self-shadow. Some is like a kind of some conditions, and shadows become very awful, ugly, looks like ghost. And the donkey say, look these appearances. I cannot accept. It is unacceptable. I want to avoid, get rid. I don't want. And some in the conditions reflect his shadows wonderful. Really like this? Wonderful. But you accept or avoid. Shadow is a shadow. Shadow is the self-shadow. And this you choose to run after is a positive shadow, negative shadow. And you are not looking the source of the shadow. They're only the like kind of the analysis of shadow. And the ugly shadow to want to try get rid of. Nice shadow you accept. It's shadow. Shadow's never ever the truth. Shadow is hallucination. Shadow is mirage. Shadow is echo. Shadow is a rainbow. Shadow is like kind of the magic illusion. And like this, when we have some self-appearances, favorite, adverse, harmful, and both is burning, or both to recognize as the self-appearance. And self-appearances, maybe it's like then you go to more inward to look at the perception of the mind itself. Maybe in the mind, that is the wave, expression, discipline, movement of the mind. All this kind of the perceptions, pictures of the perceptions, not really truly existence, kind of substantially. And then there is like kind of you can to make the peace, tolerant, totally something is a kind of the achievement or the realizations can occur. That is. Next one, this is vital, making you appel at the diluted way you see things. And externally, you see that this kind of distinctions, good and bad, and like kind of the illusory, like illusory or the magic illusion or mirage, or like kind of the dreams. Maybe we can to say is diluted sort of the self-appearances, and chasing after, running after, caring these things, and avoid these things is really just kind of the useless. And if you recognize then kind of there's such the benefit, then you have apple, or maybe it is like you have something feeling of the disgust, and you really it's a kind of the shock, and also it's like you understand this is an empty movement, like an empty kind of nonsense follow to the after this kind of perceptions. There's such a kind of the benefit. And the same way that sometimes in the Longchen Path continue, sometimes look at your friend and the teachers of the others. And maybe it's a wonderful why we need to look at to them. Then you can to get some such discriminating knowledge. He said the distinguishing the good from the bad will inspire you to practice. And then it's like a maybe good friend, bad friend. Maybe good teacher, bad teacher, guide. There's many different type of this kind of phenomena. If you recognize what is good, what is bad, and then you can to act, you just to practice and good things, because you have more inspire, enthusiastic, interest. That is the good. Action, doing good, beginning good, middle is good, the end is good. It's bringing good for me, it's bringing to good to everybody's. And you understand this kind of distinctions between the good bad. And then you can practice very easy, and it's a help to us. Sometimes look at the miracles, discipline of the four elements in space. Of course, that is the such miraculous discipline of the elements. Sometimes wonderful, sometimes horrible, like suffering weather. And like wind, earth, water, fire, everything there is like kind of the miracle discipline, movement. And we need to look at this movement, all these four the elements. And then it's like you will see how effort subsides in the true nature of mind. In the subside, it is like you can to see this kind of the movement of the element, discipline of the element. And we can to say the miraculous discipline of the earth element. Sometimes it's become the green, sometimes it's yellow, sometimes it's become white, sometimes it's become the ice, sometimes it's soft, sometimes it's become the desert, sometimes it's become the liquid. There's such a difference of the discipline of the earth. Same as the water, wind, and there is this kind of. But, and you look at the more, everything is miraculously discipline of those things, but in the natural state. Each individual of the element, water element, has such a different movement. And dirty water, clean water, mud water, yellow water, green water. But everything, this miraculous discipline occurring in the essential nature of the water itself. And you recognize, maybe if we more focus on the nature itself, maybe we become free from the making the distinctions between good and bad. And maybe we can to say you CEST. And other things is, you don't need to care. One student sent a message to his own teacher. Like you told me, I need to practice realities. And the reality of the nature of the like mind is like space, like kind of the ocean. And in the space, there is such a occurring miraculous discipline of the element and cloud or stars. But it's the space itself. There's nothing kind of occurring the good or bad, or cloud or earth. Space is space, effortlessly. Nothing like. And this you taught me like this. But when I meditate space, it's easy, but not easy, the movement of the cloud and the movement of the something in the occurring in the space. And of course, easily to maintain the ocean. Mind is like ocean. But if there is the turmoil of the occurring wave, very difficult to maintain. Like my mind, you said, is to meditate like like mind is mounting. Any kind of airs, not unmoved. Yes, I can do it, but mountain has a lot of vegetations and forest grass. It's not easy to practice. And send this kind of message and replied by the teachers. When you're meditating in the like space, like some space, but this is occurring of the movement of the cloud, other things. It's just a miracle discipline of the space. You don't need to care about this kind of movement. When you are meditating, same as in nature, like kind of mountain, you don't need to care about the grass, forest, these things. These are the miracle discipline of the mountain. You seize the main mountain. Why you need to care about this some movement? And you are like nature. You meditate under your nature, like same as the ocean. Like you can to say it's like you meditate on the ocean. But there's such movement, the waves disturbing. The wave of the oceans is the miracle discipline of the ocean. Why you need to care? Waves come from ocean. Waves bathing in the ocean. Waves dissolve back to the ocean. You don't need to care this kind of discipline of the oceans. You need to care the principle, main. Then it's there, it's like effortlessly. You don't need to put such effort. What do we need to be avoid? What do we need to adopt or something like this? And also Longchen Pa says, sometimes you look at your homeland, house, and positions. Yeah, if you look at them, which kind of benefit? And knowing them to be illusory, you will feel disgust at the diluted way you are perceived themselves. Where you are perceived, whatever you perceived, relative, wealthy, healthy, belonging, positions, so on, so on. If you look at them more and more, very carefully, they are absolutely mirage, absolutely kind of the rainbow. You more close, they are more far. Finally, you cannot to catch, cannot to make associate. It's really they are like kind of the illusory hallucination, dream. Like then it's like you more chasing, it's like something meaningless. Then you have mind is determined. We say it's like a renunciation, disgust in the mind, hesitations. Why am I follow up this kind of fool, deceptive? And then it's like you can recognize the illusories. The illusories lead. If you recognize illusory as illusory, maybe is the recognize these illusory perceptions, what you perceived, and maybe it can to bring you in the enlightenment, or you can to more approach to your essential mind. And therefore you understand diluted and our appearances. Of course, we perceive them as real, but reality is diluted where we will perceive them. And in this perspective, easily we can to cut clinging and disattachment, demand, hope, fear, this sort of. Sometimes if we can to say in the Westerns, if I haven't got disattachment, what can I to help my partner, my person? But not like kind of the helping to others attachments, not like this. You helping others through your desire, through your benefit, then you can help. For example, sometimes says, I'm helping, because it's like kind of you expecting someone says you are a good person. You may be expected to become famous. I'm doing charities, I'm doing something help to others, but not really is like kind of without disattachment, without jealousy, competition, and it's very difficult. And therefore, when you help to others without disattachment and without kind of clingings, you can't help, absolutely. And like this, therefore, if we really understand the illusory our self-appearances, such there's benefit, maybe you know more follow-ups. I make a joke. There is the wild cats called the cheetah, fast animal. And one in the zoo, one guy, he's like kind of cheating this cheetah. And he make very far, there's like kind of ropes. And this is bring by the machines. And then in the end of the rope, there's like kind of animals, skin or something. And then he put in the front of cheetah, and then this kind of the machines turn to take away, and cheetahs running after. And he analyzes how much is fast, how much speed. But he doing again and again. And sometimes these cheetahs captured, but just a fake, nothing. 100 times, finally cheetahs speak the human language. And he put in the front this cheetah, and he like can't take away. Cheetah said, no, I don't want. This is just a fake. I have such disgust in your cheating things. He doesn't want to run after that. He's like to run very fast. He's thinking beginning, mistake, ignored. He thought maybe I can to catch to eat. And certainly to catch maybe some piece of wood, maybe something very strange. It's like kind of cheating. Like this, now we are like kind of the runner of the after, our like kind of the cheater or perception, deceptive self-appearances. We run after how many lifetimes, years, life and life, times. Now in these times we understood, we have such disgust now, reduced, completely cut out. How do you say? Leap out, or how to say lick out? How do you cut it, eradicate it? Say no. I can to see some is a very dissipative appearances, but I'm just talking. It's very funny, but nothing kind of mind is holding. They are really substantially to existence. And kind of you can enjoy. Like when I watch the film, wonderful on the screen of the television or the computers, and emotional things, scaring things, panic things, terrible things, romantic things. Whatever occurring this one, I'm watching and fun, but not reality there is. And of course, it's like this, nothing like this. It's a little bit compares. This is we can to say the picture film in there. Maybe sometime I'm thinking some those actors acting very well. I'm watching now, but these actors maybe already died. Such years ago already disappeared, but still this move recorded the movie and continue if you can to watch. Absolutely kind of hallucination, a dream, like kind of the magic illusion. Like day and by day, week by week, time by times, when we more approach in our life, our dreams, our self-appearances, If we do not analyze, okay, tool looks like existence. We do it and kind of spend our life. But more to analyze, it's very funny, lovable, and it's like inconceivable, really like a dream, like hallucination. Totally is truth, like this. And sometimes look at the wealth and positions of the others, seeing how it's pitiful they are. You will cast off samsaric ambitions. Yeah, maybe I take off this one. Ambitious. Look, someone is very much rich, wonderful life, and they have such a position, wealth. Wow, a surprise. But when we look at very carefully, but sometimes they cannot use. And sometimes they are such healthy, but they died by hunger. They are very much kind of has such a position. And position, properties. And but you have very high position and not permanent, not forever. It is illusory. Fell down, die in the street. Like, for example, Kadabis. You see Kadabi? And Mr. Saddam. How much high position? Someone is very much have properties, wonderfuls, extraordinaries. They have properties, but sometimes they died by hunger. They died by cold. Says they went holiday. They fell into the desert. They couldn't got the food, drink. Sorry, they died. And then there's properties. Oh yes, his proportion of the properties, government, relatives, they are happy. Okay, this person is died by the hunger in the deserts. Then what is that these properties or the belongings? And someone is like climate, hot, cold areas. You remember once in the Mount Kailash, near there is Himalayas. Some group is a climate and want to go to top of that. Suddenly, snows came down. Most of them died by cold. But there are some of them very rich, very healthy, wealthy. But finally they died on the cold areas. They can't get warm jacket. They can't get the warm sleep bag. Snow and negative circumstances certainly attack. We cannot say, sorry, Ellie waiting, I want to go buy some hot, warm sleep bag, warm jacket, then I'm coming, and sooner you can to cover over me. I can to buy is because I'm a healthy, wealthy person. I have a lot of property. But this is impossible. And maybe we can to say, in Patrul Rinpoche says, and if, example, you carrying millions of dollar or euro or money in your pocket, But certainly, if the sun is set, you're doing something. All the shops, restaurants closed. You didn't get dinner. In your house, nothing. Then you run outside. Everybody is close at the door. They want to sleep. You can't buy nothing. You cannot go to restaurant. And then you have millions card money. What do? At that moment, you need to come back, waiting in the tomorrow morning. But then it's at that moment says you eat money, it doesn't work. And sometimes like this, it's like kind of you see sometimes look at the others' wealth and positions. You have kind of the mind is pitiful. It's like kind of the samsaric ambitious. Someone says like I'm rich, I'm power and wealthy, healthy, but there are also sometimes these kind of situations occurring. You are not very much interested to worldly think positions. Whatever you come, whatever you have, make happy to you, and the inexhaustible your belonging, wealth is the be contentment. Be content. Like this. And in brief, examine the nature of everything in all its multiplicity. Multiplicity of the phenomena, multiplicity of the experience, multiplicity of the good and bad, ugly, beautiful. And there's a multiplicities of the phenomena. And you will destroy the delusion of the clinging to any of it as real. Any if it as well real. Most times we are very much deluded those externally appearances. And there is like kind of all the time substantially something existence that we believed. That is the wrong belief and misguiding. And if you look at the more and these things to analysis, and then it's like kind of you can make the demolish, which is the holding as real. You can to get rid the belief things are as real. And that is the wonderful. And the cutting is the such wrong belief into your mind is busily you can to become the enlightened. That is a kind of we need to analyze. That is the Longchen Pass to say. It's a wonderful quotation, wonderful PT instruction, wonderful nice. And like this, maybe we can to drink coffee. Now it is the 10:15, and we can to start 11:15. Okay, 11:15 start. Half an hour we can to rest, drink coffee, and lots of us also is tired. And maybe more you can to read this quotation. But here in Dharma City Sangha, they don't want to read. They carry book just to show off me. And pretendly we are reading book, but they never open. Maybe it's like accusating to them, sorry. Okay. Post. Oh no.